Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo, and I am here for Kimetsu no Yaiba Season Swords, Episode 8. Last time on Kimetsu no Yaiba. Oh man, can I dedicate just 30 seconds to recap so that I can get the stuff that I actually want to talk about here? Hantengu's, all his forms got reformed into a new form that's a little boy, but he's an asshole, and he's really self-righteous, and a douchebag. Gyoko is desperate to prove himself, and has discovered that Haganezuka is working on a sword, and god, he just wants to be noticed senpai. Senpai, notice me, slap, 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 slap. Notice me, senpai, slap, 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 slap. Not gonna happen, Haganezuka's gonna finish the sword. Bad for you, Gyoko. Muichiro, Tokito, stuck in the water, about to give up. Little kid stumbles forward, bleeding out his chest because he got stabbed by a cute little fish thing, and blows some bubbles into there, giving him a little bit of hope, and making some kind of an argument about what Tanjiro said before, about the good things that you do maybe come back and pay off for you. He saved a life. The life is used to save his. Pretty cool. Can he save the actual life? I don't know. Can he go kill Gyoko with the cool sword? I hope so. Girl not here yet. Tanjiro fighting asshole little dude. Apparently the snakes are made of wood. I didn't know. I think they were stone. Snakes, dragons. Brarg. God, the bird thing is gone. Fucking great. Genya, weird freak out stuff, but I think he'll be okay. I hope. He got explodinated, and I think he'll be okay. And I think that's all our pieces. That's all our pieces. So I can move on to talk about what I actually want to talk about here at the beginning, which is the title of the episode, The Moo in Muichiro. And I don't think we're talking about the sounds that cows make, because it's spelled M-U. I also think that I'm completely wrong about the entire interpretation I'm about to throw at you. The fact that I'm wrong about it doesn't mean that I'm not going to do it, because this is one of my favorite concepts in the entire universe, and I need to talk about it. I need to talk about it at least a little bit. What is moo, anyway? Oh god, this is such a stupid, difficult question. I am endeavoring to explain to you literally the inexplicable. One of the preeminent starting teachings around this concept is you're not going to be able to explain this to anybody. Don't even try. The whole point of it is to force you to contemplate a thing that can't be contemplated effectively in order to break your own presuppositions about the way that things get contemplated. The idea is moo, and moo has a bunch of meanings, a bunch of which have been argued about for centuries, and which are all competing, which is going to muddy the waters quite a bit here. If you ask some people, they'll say that it means no, or they'll say that it means nothingness, or they'll say that it means not applicable, or they'll say that it is the non-positive, non-negative, non-affirmative, non-negative answer to a binary question. So presented with a binary question with a yes or no answer, the answer that you might give might be moo, which is to refuse the question itself, but also to answer not applicable, or to answer somewhere in between. But it is negative, kind of, and it's a negation of the whole concept. But really, it's a negation of the dualism inherent in the binary asked in the question. Or something like that, depending on who you ask, and what they think it means, and how long they've spent thinking about what it means. I don't think I understand what it means very well right now, and I think I can say that with some confidence because there's a period of time that I can look back on in my past when I was really dedicating myself to figuring this piece of the universe out, where I think I did understand it better. Pretty well, maybe. Maybe not well compared to the monks who spent decades just focused on meditating on it, but I had reached some point where I was a little bit dissolving the ego and getting in touch with the idea that the asking of a question itself is inherently flawed, and the answering of such a question itself would be inherently flawed, and that there's actually a fundamental oneness between the asker and the question and the state of the universe that's created by it. And you can boil it down into some weird quantum physics interpretations and talk about the idea of the observer and the idea that the question itself is changed in its answer by your answering of the question. Partly because by answering the question in the binary that's been expressed to you before you have the chance to answer the question, you affirm the format of the question, which might not be correct. The most famous example of Moo, and I have this already pulled up because I knew that I was going to need reference points, is super short, and it is a cone. Cone. I've always said cone. I'm going to keep saying cone. Koan. Highly recommend looking up cones. If you want to do that experience of trying to shatter your mind real good, cones are the way to do that. They're actually meant for it. One of the famous ones is if a tree falls in the forest and there's no one around to hear it, does it make a sound? That's a cone. It's a question, somewhat rhetorical, that maybe doesn't have an answer. And maybe forces you to think. And maybe forces you to bash yourself up against the idea of questions themselves, and answers themselves, and being itself, and observation itself, and all of those things. Just in trying to address the tree falls in a forest question, you start having to answer questions about what are sounds? What is experience? Is that a real thing? How can it fall with no one around to hear? All these things, right? Okay, but the actual example is, a monk asked Master Jiao Shu, I've seen so many interpretations, Cho, has a dog the Buddha nature or not? Cho said, moo. And actually, he probably said woo, which is the Chinese form that got whippidified into the Japanese Zen stuff. So it's translated often to no, which doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense in context. Does a dog have Buddha nature? Buddha nature being a weird concept in itself, which is like, sentience, sort of? The conscious ability to transcend its physical plane, the ability to suffer, all these things. Fundamentally, all of the universe in Buddhist cosmology has Buddha nature. All of it. Everything. Conscious or not. It all has Buddha nature. It's all part of the nature of existence. It's all real. There's no duality. There's no split between the conscious reality and the physical experience. In the same way that you might get neurobiologists now presenting theories that your conscious mind creates reality around you, which is a reasonable theory, I think. Maybe. I don't know enough to know. But the question doesn't make any fucking sense. And the answer, if it's translated as a negative, no, the dog has not Buddha nature, is nonsensical. It's absolutely nonsensical. Ridiculous. But it would also be ridiculous to answer yes. Because to say, yes, the dog has Buddha nature is to accept the presentation of the question, which is wrong. The question's incorrect. The question takes this almost Western rational analytical viewpoint on things. Can I determine the Buddha nature of an element of the universe? Asks the question. And the answer to that is, shut the fuck up. What are you talking about? You haven't spent enough time thinking. You're not awake. The gateless gate is closed unto you. And it's called a gateless gate because all you have to do is walk forward and step through it. But you can't. There's nothing blocking you. There's nothing preventing you from seeing that you are the gate. But until you understand that, and you can't, and nobody can give you the understanding, I can't force it into you. Until you get that, it's just irrelevant. The question doesn't make any fucking sense. But if you go and you look up that cone, you'll find that the interpretation that I just gave you of it, the explanation that I just gave you, that fundamentally the question doesn't make sense, or that Buddha nature is inherent in all things, and therefore the question is irrelevant, is not the only interpretation of the question or of the answer. And so it gets more complicated. As complicated as you want it to get, because over thousands of years, millions of relatively intelligent people have dedicated themselves wholeheartedly and not like mystically or stupidly. And it's really important to dispense with that as an idea, that these are voodoo idiots, right? Not what's going on here. These are people who are dedicated wholeheartedly toward figuring out the nature of existence to the same degree that Einstein or our modern scientists were dedicated, just using different tools. Dramatically different tools. And every single one of them has come up with their own theories of what it means. Fuck. God. And half of them have been wrong, and half of them, it's clear when you go and you read through in the right mindset, it's hard to tell which half, just because the answers differ so much, half of them clearly have not awakened to whatever they were supposed to awaken to, and are just grasping at straws and hoping that they can pick out some analytical principle that explains the unanalyzable. Hoping that they can sift, and I'm going to do a weird segue here a little bit, but I think it might make sense, that they can sift through the misty haze of current present existence and find something true and clear. Because that's what the whole idea is that you're walking around always and forever in a haze, looking for answers to questions that don't need answering. Questions like, and here's our weird segue, who am I and where am I from? What am I and what am I here for? Do those questions actually need answering? Or, in some ways, is it good enough to just act in the moment? Is it okay to just be without knowing? Purposeless purpose. Unthinking being. And that's where it comes together for me, is that Muichiro has been that person for a while. And while he, like so many of us, has been stumbling around seeking answers, he's also, it seems, been content with just being. With trusting in the potential. In the maybe. He almost gave it up at the end of the last episode as he was drowning. Well, I guess there's nothing to do here. And that's the moment that it appeared. As if the moment that he said, "The gate is closed unto me," is the moment that it was opened. And that feels right. The fundamental question in this koan is about the nature of existence. The monk's question came from a fragmented, one-sided perception of existence. The master used mu as a hammer to break up the monk's conventional thinking. The barrier is mu, but it always has a personal frame. For some, the barrier is, who am I really? And that question is resolved through mu. For others, it is, what is death? And that question, too, is resolved through mu. For me, it was, what am I doing here? The kindness of a koan consists mainly of taking away what you are sure of about yourself. To become uncertain completely. Mist. Flow. A thing that's there that obscures but is not there, that's immaterial. See, I think this is actually some degree of the intent here. I've got like 1% chance to be right. There's no shot that this is what Muichiro's whole deal is, right? There's no shot. And yet, I have to say again that this is the coolest concept to me. And when I was in university, I took a number of classes on Buddhism because I was fascinated by this concept in particular. Not the Eightfold Path, not the Dharmic Way, none of those things. This idea, the unknowable uncertainty of mu. The answer that isn't an answer, that refuses the question. And I hadn't thought about it for fucking years. Until I, over this past week, have been thinking, the mu in Muichiro, what does it mean? Oh, right, there's that mu thing that's kind of important. It's a little It's a little bit important. Mu holds itself coldly aloof from both the intellect and the imagination. Try as it might, reasoning cannot gain even a toehold on Mu. In fact, trying to solve Mu rationally, we are told by the masters, is like trying to smash one's fist through an iron wall. Likewise, of course, my attempt to explain it, not knowing it myself, is fraught and inevitably going to fail. But it might set some of you down the path, and I think that's part of the point. Reckoning with Mu opens the door, and you can just do it. Yourself. Go! Off with you. Have fun shattering your conscious mind. There is great value to it, I think. There's great value to breaking down those barriers, those expectations. And I highly recommend that you spend time thinking about it and do your own research. Because as soon as you do your own research, you'll immediately find that there are a bunch of other explanations that make more sense and less sense in every possible way. And that might be enough to get you intrigued, as I was years ago and am once more, enough to dedicate yourself a little bit to trying to figure out what's going on underneath the surface. Because what happens when you come across the question like this is that it forces you to evaluate the self that's evaluating the question. And that changes everything. Just changes everything. So, good luck. Have fun trying to solve the impossible. I'm gonna watch some weird anime, because that's my move. And that's where we'll leave off on that weird discussion at the beginning. I hope you found it enjoyable. I know that I might get some comments complaining about it, like, dude, what the fuck are you talking? Stop it! I just wanted to see dudes with swords swing swords at bad guys, come on. But I felt compelled, and that's the way that the thing goes. So, now we get to find out just how wrong I am and what the Mu in Muichiro really means as we dive into episode 8 of a sword arc of Kimetsu no Yaiba. This arc has been okay. I have hope for it to become much better, as we have all the Hashiras coming together and people awakening to their real souls and stuff. Should be good. Let's see what happens next. I've got episode 8 up and ready to go. There will be just the timer-based version. Beep beep timer. Patreon, early access. Yeah, beep beep timer. He's free! He's free! Ow! Shit! Poison? Poison. Thanks, little buddy. Alright. You gotta at least stop the tiny cute fishies. Oh, they're so cute. They're so cute. Can we sell plushies? You better figure out something you can do. Dada! Okay. Straightforward. I can't do it. Wait, a vision. Haman-sama! Ah, Haman-sama. None of you are gonna get this. None of you are watching Gundam with me. Why aren't you watching Gundam with me? Grr. ZZ Gundam is amazing. Ah, Haman-sama. I wonder if pre-mind-fucked Muichiro is a worrywart. Like a hyper-anxious crybaby. And thus the strength of emptiness. Okay. Ah, I should have just looked at the kanji and that would have answered the whole question. If it's the right kanji. Oh, I'm stupid. Okay, he's getting his memories back. Woodcutter is not dissimilar from... That looked great. Yeah, it's pretty fun. Uh-oh. Ah, storm, huh? Only so much you can do. Helpless. And desperate. Slip. Don't slip. Fuck. Okay. Damn. Oh, yep. All right. That does it. What? 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 Holy shit, what? Is he getting Fight Clubbed? Bro, no, you're getting Fight Clubbed. No, this guy doesn't exist. Oh my god, he said the Tanjiro line. Alright, I'm looking for Fight Club hints. He's getting Fight Club. Sorry for spoiling Fight Club. The guy doesn't exist. Brad Pitt isn't real. Yeah, this is a figment of your consciousness. This is the negative self. 100%, right? As dark as can be. He's gonna fight him off, and that's where his brain goes. It's just reflected, right? I don't know. It could be real. Ooh, I don't think so. So, a year later, when he was 11, and this is when he will find himself alone. You still haven't done it? God. Damn. Okay, what's gonna go weird? Hello! From the mansion. Ah. A reasonable thing to think. Oh, this is so interesting now. There are two of you, and he's just hanging in. Why? Well, hope. You're the descendants of the. Hopeless. It's all hopeless. Just like our dad who went out there to try to do a helpful thing and got dead for it. It's all stupid. Grr. All their faults. Only the chosen ones? If he is real, he's gonna go choose to be a demon. Amazing. She continued to visit, huh? Uncaring. Hmm. This is fascinating. I'm still on this mystery thing. I thought that was Akaza for a second. Oh, and he moves immediately. Oh, yeah, that might be real. The blade? Amane-sama? You're useless anyway. I'd like to get a third-party perspective. Oh! At least it's outside for the sunlight. Damn, dude! Holy shit! And your brother? Oh. Hmm. Ah, shit. Animation's amazing. This is a lot. I'm the darkness. Oh my god. And he does awaken to his birthmark. No, just like his brother. Rad. Great backstory. Oh, we got minutes left. I thought we were almost done. That was so much. Oh my god. Hmm. You're a fool, Gyoko. An absolute fool. Hey, he's different. Oh, oh, good job, me! Yay! 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 Mate, mate, mate. Yeah, it's spreading. So he awakens him, kind of. Oh, God. Oh, my goodness. Oh, that's gonna stop him from honing. Oh, he's still going. Let's go! Perfection. No, 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 no! True, true, true. Oh, hello. I was just playing, bro. My dude. Hmm. Memories, 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 huh? And so he's able to thank the people that matter. His first. Because he tears them up, right? And so he passed down his art to... Is he just gonna full 1v1 Gyoko? Yeah, he's got that dumb teleporting bullshit. I don't know. Keep gloating, man. Keep gloating, man. That's so funny. Oh no! Like a fun shell game. He's got so many extra vases. Oh, geez, there are more of him. Or wait, is he just teleporting? Stands for... Wait. He's speaking to Muichiro. So he is Yuichiro. No? Wait, what? Or is he just speaking to himself? I'm actually confused there. I'm actually genuinely confused. I don't know. Now I just feel stupid. Because I am. Well, I'm glad to be wrong. It ends up being quite good. That's one of the darker backstories, period. Including Tanjiro's. I mean, bloody family and everything bad, but damn! So then, we'll have this other duality thing with Kanroji, because there's this other her represented, right? Ning, ning. Oh, okay. What do you mean seconds? Thirds, fourths? All of it. Western style foods that we often definitely eat in the West. Not ever. Oh my god. Wow. Ooh, I need a minute. That was a lot. That was a lot. That was one of the hardest backstories to watch. Also, I'm still entirely uncertain. Am I just tricking myself? I think I'm just tricking myself. I think I just fucked myself up when I had the initial impression that, like, he doesn't actually have a brother. I think he actually does have a brother, and I think he actually is Muichiro, not Yuichiro. I think. But I'm not sure. I'm actually going to take a moment to watch through that whole final sequence again. Because I'm not sure. I'll be right back. Muichiro, sorry I couldn't have been more gentle with you. I could never afford to be that way. And okay. That's why I thought I had to protect you. And the hand reaching out, and that's it. And you can exert infinite strength. You're one of the chosen ones. So where is this voice coming from inside of his head? Because it's coming from the perspective of Yuichiro. Toward himself, Muichiro. I'm somewhat confused. I shouldn't be. See, this seems to be quite straightforward, and I'm making it more of a confusing thing than it actually is. I think I'm going to be capable of putting it to the side and seeing what people think when they hit me in the comments. So let me frame the questions this way. Did he actually have a brother? Physically. Did he actually have a brother? And light cloak, dark cloak, which one survives until the modern day? Light cloak, Muichiro. Yuichiro died that night, actually, right? Arm chopped off by demon, bled out on the thing while saying, God, Buddha, please save my brother, right? But his spirit, to some extent, lives on in the brother, I think. Alternatively, he never had a brother. He was living alone the entire year in between, and it was a fractured, shattered personality thing where he created a dark, angry, hellfire, hellish persona in order to survive, which is reasonable. And then the two collapse in the demon fight. I don't know. I think I've overconfused myself. We'll skim through. Poor Kotetsu-kun! There is nothing that I can do. I can't do it. I'm giving up. And it's his father's voice that tells him that he can. And later says, quite specifically, the same line that Tanjiro gives, which is pretty cool. The Mu in Muichiro means all these bad things. I liked working with my father. I liked being here. It was good. It's all complete. He's completely alone, right? There's no indication of a brother at all. His mother is dying, and he's so self-sacrificing and desperate and helpless. I think this really sells the helplessness of a child unable to do anything in this moment, and the deep tragedy of the father going out to save the mother and dying in the process. It's utterly deeply tragic. This is like the kind of tragedy that leads to a a lasting curse on a land in Mushishi or something, like Spirits Forever stuff. Oh, I think it's really good. It's straightforward. I mean, we see it coming, but it doesn't make it any less brutal. Like any good tragedy, the fact that you know that it's a tragedy doesn't prevent it from being so dark and sad. I lost both my mother and father at once. They died when I was 10, and I was all alone. But no, I wasn't. We turn away and we pull out, and there he is. The petals from the birch trees, or the little seed pods that flitter down, are symbolic all the way through. They're here, they're when he bursts through, and then they're when the brother dies, and then they're in the last scene when he breaks through. They do feel ethereal and flower petal-y. They make me think that the brother isn't real. He's a perfect, like, Tsurime Tareme opposite, right? Like, a perfect mirroring. I don't think he's real. Is he real? Am I getting Fight Clubbed? I think I'm getting Fight Clubbed. I had a twin, his name was Yuichiro, and he conveniently didn't appear until my parents died and my mental state was shattered. And then from then on was conveniently the precise polar opposite personality of me. I don't think he exists! So then I think that's what's going on, is that at the end when he's like, Muichiro, sorry I couldn't be slightly nicer to you, he was locked into a broken persona that he created to protect himself. I think that makes sense. I think it's perfectly readable that way. I just don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's actually the intent of the story. I can read it that way as much as I want. It's great. It's great if it's Fight Club. Great. Best version of Fight Club that I've seen since Fight Club. But I don't know if it's accurate. Shit. He is Omega Dark. Compassion does no good for anyone. Honestly, we just feed his lines into, like, a bad shonen protagonist. Doing something for others won't get you anywhere. The exact opposite. And he says the line precisely, whatever you do for others comes around to help you as well in the end. It's his own damn spirit, isn't it? It's his own damn spirit. It's his spirit of hope and potential, and his spirit of darkness and hatred. That's why Amane-sama keeps coming back, is because the kid acts like he's insane. He flip-flops between a human and a monster. Or are they really two separate boys, one of whom is inviting and the other one is driving her away? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. If you put a gun to my head right now and asked me, is Yuichiro a real boy at any point? I don't know. I don't have a fucking clue. Brutal. I don't have a fucking clue. That's what Father used to say. Well, you can't trust the word of a man who died trying to help someone else. Amazing. And this comes to a head during the chopping radishes sequence. It's always the fault of the failed altruist. Good intentions mean nothing, and in fact, he says, good intentions always lead to pain. That's the perspective that he gives. Not just, it's not worth it. Not just, you give of yourself without getting in return. Not just transactional, simple self-centeredness. Active hatred for goodness. And that's why I said, if he ever gets the chance, this guy's becoming a demon. And that's actually, I thought, where we were going with the story. Assuming that Yuichiro is a real boy. Yuichiro is a real boy. They get split up during some horrible demon encounter. Yuichiro takes the leap, right? This level of darkness is the same type of darkness that Gyutaro and Daki leaned into, right? It's the same one. Trying to do the right thing doesn't help ya. It just causes you and everyone around you to experience more pain. So don't. Take what you can take while the taking's good. Get what you can get. But of course, that kind of attitude breeds the kind of despair and pain and destruction that you experienced in the first place that was the reason for all of this pain in the first place, right? Right. Although, actually, that's not true. The initial outset of despair comes from coincidence. Purely the nature of reality, right? The mother gets sick, the father slips. Rough. Yuichiro can blame them and say, it's mother's fault for continuing to work in order to support us and not taking a break, which it might be. And so from thence he gets the perspective that the altruism is evil, or altruism wrong, or trying to do good is inherently going to lead to the opposite. Super interesting. Like the darkest of perspectives. Really, really. Beyond stupid. If he hadn't tried, we would have only lost Mother. I'm just saying it how it is. Besides, don't yell. You might attract bears. The mu in Muichiro, and he starts to sing song. It stands for incompetence. The mu in Muichiro stands for meaningless. Can't change the past. I have a feeling that in a way I was like him when I had amnesia, as he's remembering. And here we are, split straight down the middle, my life with my brother. This isn't real, man! I'm convinced now. He's not a real boy. You're a figment. You're Brad Pitt. You're Brad Pitt. I'm just gonna walk up to a real person. You're Brad Pitt. You don't exist. I don't know. Always dark, always... Okay, let's talk about this. This is just a... We're gonna pull this out as something separate to mention. Because I see this all the time. I see this amongst families. I've seen this in my own family. I see this amongst friends. It's an attitude and a mode of treating people thing that's just crushing and stifling. I'm gonna go take the trash out. Finally. Okay. I cleaned the bathroom. For once. Okay. If you want misery, then when people do things that are good and useful around you, criticize them for it. It's a real fast way to prevent them from doing anything good for you. And a great, rapid way to get to passive-aggressive, hateful, terrible, tumultuous energy in a household. Just awful. Just awful. Keep an eye out for when people do things that you'd like them to do. And then, no matter how you feel about it, praise them for it. Wow, thanks for taking the trash out. I noticed you cleaned the bathroom. Really appreciate that. The exact opposite will occur. They will be more likely to do those things, and they will be pleased. This kind of thing is just utterly crushing. I have to do everything. You can't even wash the rice. Utterly crushing. And despicable, I think. And really easy to slip into. Keep an eye out for it. Because it's stunning to me how badly so many people that I see treat each other. All the time. All the time. It's stunning. And you can make a huge difference in your own life and the lives of those around you just by making subtle changes to the way that you treat each other. Whether this is real or inside his own mind. And inside your own mind, too. Let's take that layer. That's important as well. A lot of that same kind of dialogue goes on inside our own heads, where we discount our own actions or treat ourselves like we're worthless or continuously failing or inevitably going to mess it up. Man. It's bad enough when it's interpersonal. You can discount what somebody else says about you. You can just not believe it. You can't avoid believing yourself. So keep an eye out for your own internal dialogue and see if it does that too. That's important. Look at me, so useless, can't even make food. Welcome to the spiral. Enjoy your time in the pit. Because that's where you'll be. And we have... okay, so I noticed it in this frame, and I think it's really evident later when we get Muichiro stumbling in the house as he stumbles back to his bloodied brother. There are some really great moments of understated character animation. This moment where he walks up with the weight and sets it down and undoes the little rope. It's all very, very crispy. I think it's really good and deeply understated. You know, in Kimetsu, most of what we end up pointing at or looking at is like, you know, giant flares and stuff. This stuff is great. It's super important to be able to nail subtle character animation, especially when we're trying to embody a character or invest ourselves into the mental state of a character or the physical state of a character, because the two are linked. He is small and weak and quiet and withdrawn, and representing all of those things physically helps us mirror neuron them. We actually experience them. We feel that we're carrying the weight with him. And to the extent that those bits of animation are done well, we feel like we are Muichiro. So it's good to point it out when it happens well, and sometimes it happens well. He sees and meets the woman, Oyakata-sama's wife. And at first I thought she was a white birch spirit. So they sit, and again he's like hovering over the shoulder, behind and to the side. It's Fight Club. It's Fight Club. He's Brad Pitting him. My brother just spewed his usual insults and drove her away, but she continues coming back. So, look, we used to be so great. Someone with the first breathing. Wow, wow, wow. So what? Wash the rice. If we can do something useful to help, then we should. Let's save the people who are suffering because of those demons. So we have this optimism once again. There's a chance for us. We could do something good. How cool is that? That's the opposite of what Yuichiro wants. Don't you remember, buddy? Doing things that are good for other people causes pain. Duh. Empirically proven by our parents. Of course this is a bad idea. The visual and narrative to chop off the conversation and cut him off. It's great. The angle choices are really dynamic and brutal. Wonder... See, this is the kind of scene that people who have experienced domestic violence might get really, really wigged out by this scene. The overbearing presence of an angry person in your kitchen. All they have to be doing is cutting a carrot in a particular way, and it's terrifying. Down to the base of your spine. And you know that it's a spew of belittling, destructive bullshit that they're about to throw at you. You can't help but listen to it, because you want their approval. It's a cool scene. I have not experienced domestic violence, to be clear. I'm just capable of imagining it. Part of the reason that I'm capable of imagining it is because a scene like this is so evocative. Suddenly, everything is shattered. There's a moment of silence, and then he screams. Useless. Just like our dead fucking parents. Your mind doesn't even work. And then he goes through and spews vitriol at each of them. Her fault for getting sick. His fault for going and trying to help the fool. You self-sacrificing just like each of them. And after all that I've done to try to prevent it, you know who can help? Only the chosen ones. But we're here To die like dogs in vain. I see this sentiment everywhere. Today. I see it everywhere. Tears me up. This idea that we are not the chosen. That it's all for naught. I see it in a subreddit that I get notifications for computer science career questions. People are giving up, unable to find programming jobs. Coming out of university. I'm not the chosen. I was born at the wrong time. It's all over for me. Guess I'll go get a job at Wendy's. Can't even get a job at Wendy's. I'm not a chosen one. What am I even supposed to do if I'm not perfect? Yeah. You can reason yourself into a little bubble of helplessness so fast. And it's not hard to do because you are small. You are small and you are weak. You're an ant on a big floating rock in space, yada yada. Okay. Get over it. Get over it. Dispense with the idea that trying to accomplish good things somehow will cause negative things. Ridiculous. Trying anything will cause change, and change can cause problems. Deal with it. Staying static is so much worse. Always. Always. What can kids like us do? Anything. It's the argument of the episode. That hope, if you hold on to it, it's infinite. It's an endless wellspring of energy and power. We're only going to be used. That's one too. Everyone else is out to get me, right? It's a zero-sum game out there. Everybody's trying to get theirs, right? And cause harm and destroy. Incorrect. Fundamentally incorrect. Misses the whole nature of society. Misses the whole nature of it. Not to say that there aren't demons out in the world. There fucking are. But we know that she's not plotting something, right? Not really. And the same is true in the real world. There are a lot of people who are genuinely good. It's shocking. Continuously surprises me. Even as optimistic a person as I am, as dedicated, consciously dedicated as I am to positivity, shocks me how good people can be sometimes. But you can't see it if you see everyone as trying to exploit you. If you view every interaction as zero-sum and negative and destructive, everyone is an enemy. It's just going to be self-fulfilling. You're going to push everyone away. This scene where they carry logs past each other and he walks by him without saying anything, without doing anything, does a ton. It really sells this whole interaction between the characters to me. It's amazing. And then on a burning hot night, suddenly, he's there. And death comes for you. And in an instant, unconsciously, against all expectations, Yuichiro the brother jumps in front and acts immediately. Bam. And suddenly it's as real as it could be, right? I can't deny that that's a real person. And I'm so confused. Are we getting Fight Clubbed? I don't know. Just be quiet and let me have what I want. You're totally useless anyway. Die like dogs and die in vain. And he shatters. He goes red. And only wakes up with a quivering mess of a demon. This sequence, when he stumbles back, I believe every bit of it. It's amazing. Especially right... These, I beg of you, right here. This sequence. That. And then he'll fall. That one. Oh my... Yeah, the self-catching stutter, 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 stumble. Yeah, his arm is really there on the floor off to the side. I don't have an argument against that. I think he's a real boy. Am I getting Fight Clubbed or not? I don't know. And his last words are to pray for the brother that he's refused to speak to the entire time, and we recolor the entire thing. If there's someone who should be punished, let it only be me. The Mu in Muichiro. And he doesn't get to say it. He says it on this side. It stands for infinity. The actual explosion of sudden action does well to cap things off. And his quiet determination brings us back into the moment. Man, it was hard to switch from that train of thought to this train of thought. Really rough. Gyoko's hilarious. Continues to be. Muichiro has the spots. He's got the spots now. So, I guess that has to do with being a descendant of the breather. So then how did Tajiro get the spots? Right. Haganazuka continuing to do the thing is amazing. Tokito recognizing the swordsmanship of this blade is really cool to me. Suddenly his memories are there and he's able, it seems, to care for the people who've been caring for him. To think of the man in the past who was so worried about him, who saw through to his real self struggle, the difficult nothingness that he's been in this whole time, but also to the more modern swordsmith who's kind of treated like dirt, right? Because he doesn't care about him, or didn't when he was amnesiac. And now he says, this sword is right. Thank you. He's able to say those things. Able to integrate. It's kind of like a reverse shadow integration in a weird way. You know, usually the idea of Jung's idea of the shadow, you collapse all the darkness of yourself and you put it aside so you don't have to look at it. That would be like if Muichiro went on being the optimist and refused to admit any of the dark side Yuichiro stuff, right? This is the opposite. It's been Yuichiro, to some extent, the dark one, in the four. There's no point to any of this, blah, blah, blah. And all of that to protect the optimist within. The hidden spirit of hope and belief that is deeply buried within. And now, integrating with himself and moving towards self-actualization, it's the reawakening of the compassionate side that enables the awakening. It's like the bad boys integration with the light. He was all shadow and he integrates the light as opposed to being all light and integrating the shadow. It's pretty interesting. It's important to have balance either way. Yeah, here's our moment with the blade. It's really cool. The care that he has. I just can't stop worrying about you. I'm sorry for making you worry, but I'm all right now. And off he goes to fight, and we'll pick up next time. And at the very end of it, he says, inside his mind, Muichiro, I'm sorry I couldn't be more gentle with you. I could just never afford to be that way. Being kind to others is one more thing that only the chosen ones can do. But, Muichiro, no matter how virtuous a life you may lead, neither the gods nor Buddha will protect you in the end. That's why I thought I had to protect you, Muichiro. For the sake of someone other than yourself, and there are the birch petals, you can exert infinite strength for the sake of someone other than you. And that's the power. That's the power of being compassionate. And that's what makes you the chosen one. That's a good fucking argument. And so inside his mind, He speaks Yuichiro to Muichiro, saying, I thought I needed... That is what's going on! He did split his persona, he Brad Pitted himself in order to protect the little boy within, right? And now you reawaken the little boy and find infinite strength there. Because it's not from cutting it all off that strength is born, it's from becoming one with it. Is it the Mu that I thought it was? No. Is it still interesting? Yes. Did I like this episode? Quite a bit. Quite a bit. I think this one was way more interesting than so many of the ones that we've had so recently. No sweetie, wooshy, woo, birds, right? Like, no bullshit. No bullshit. Straightforward. 15 minutes of core storytelling, and then the results of the core storytelling. Good. Good. Next episode is, it's named after the Hashira. It's named after Kanroji, right? Sweet. Good. We need her in this fight. Like, right now. Cool episode. Dark backstory. Really interesting. Very confusing. Still not sure if I got Fight Club. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you next time for more Kimetsu no Yaiba. Thanks so much for joining me. Peace.